Say, didn't you tell me that Grandma was always writing him letters
Yeah.
to the orphanage or to the grandmother, and she would never give him the letters?
No.
And he thought your mom had just forgot about him.
Yeah. But then she wrote to the governor, and they told her that he was in Germany. They had him as a prisoner. So he never got to see him.
Yeah, that is.
But we
So
did,
long.
we all went.
Circulation.
We didn't go all together, but sure.
Yeah.
We didn't go all together, but
person,
me and
boy,
Joe went. We were
The
the
mother
oldest,
to
we
the
went.
boy,
And
Steve,
then
well, her mother,
and then
Steve,
James and
her
Pauline,
sister,
then they
never two
went.
sons,
We
and
met
his
him.
mother.
But
She
the
says that
time I met him, he had his legs.
She said that the grandmother was very wealthy,
Oh,
Right.
They were wealthy people.
and didn't she leave her money to the orphanage?
She had a lot of money, and when she was in the hospital, she was dying, she donated all her money, everything to the Catholic Church, because they were Catholics. So she donated her belongings to the money to the church and to that orphan home.
Orphanage.
Yeah, she left all the money because that's what she put in. So he was about 10, or I don't know when they were. I think he was 9 when these people were
Adopted him.
found out that it was trying to find out where was an orphanage with they want to adopt a kid because they couldn't have any. And they told them they went way down to California, and they adopted him. And then they took him, they lived in Alamo, Texas. And then when he was 18, they drafted him. That's when he went in the Navy.
And that's something.
And he sent my mother some pictures. She was sitting with his legs up. He said he was sitting on the front porch of the house. A little white house with little fences.
Did you see the pictures?
Yeah. And those pictures, I had them, and Victor took them. So I'm trying to find out where those pictures are and her Bible, because she always was in a rocking chair reading her Bible. So Victor, they said that, I asked Vicky, she said she didn't have them. She said the one that had them was, no, they said that they thought Tony had them, but the one that had them was Vicky. So I don't know. And Vicky said she didn't have it, so we could try to find it. We never found out.
You guys never
I
would.
always think,
You never
now's
would've
the
thought- you
time
never
to
would've
find
seen
out
him if he hadn't
history,
been looking
because
for you.
once Ma's gone, it's
Yeah.
gone, because
You
she's
know.
the last surviving.
I want to know, Grandma, how you met Grandpa.
Huh?
How you met Grandpa.
Joe.
Through
I'm-
Uncle Joe?
Well, I already had met him in Mexico. They live out in the country, and he used to go downtown. He had a black horse, and he used to ride that horse to town. They lived out in the country in a little ranch, and he used to go, and I think my brother James, they used to work where he works, and so James is the one that took him to our house. And he was on his black horse, and he liked me, and he told me that he liked me, he wanted to marry me, and I didn't like him. I said, I didn't like him. I said, no, I don't want that black guy, because he was really dark. I ended up with him.
You sure did.
Yeah, I ended up over there with him. And I had 2 kids in Mexico from some guy that abused me. I had Marie and Mercy are born in
Oh.
Mexico.
Didn't tell
But
me.
Marie was born here in Pinkani, Michigan, we was picking green beans and
Uh-huh.
labor. But I didn't work, I used to stay home, and I was a big stomach, and then I went out to the porch, and the porch was broken, and the board broke and went down, and I went down, my leg went in that, and I fell over, and I fell on my stomach, and I thought was gonna lose her. I didn't lose her, she was born. She was born there, and I was all by myself. They
Oh
were
my
working out in the
gosh.
fields picking beans. So my cousin Agustin, he happened to go to the house, and he saw that I was in labor, and so he went and got my brother James, and they came. It was out in the country, and so they walked 3 miles to Pinkani, Michigan, and they went to look for a doctor. And when the doctor came, it took him a long time to get there. And so she was already born.
You
And she
delivered
was
it
just-
yourself?
She was crying and shivering, and she was cold, and I thought she was gonna die, and I thought I was gonna die.
Wow.
And I laid there for probably an hour, more than an hour. And he just came and cut the label and went back, and I was okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
What did Grandpa do for a job when he was in Mexico? What was his job?
My dad didn't have no job, he used to
No,
go,
he's talking about Lolo.
oh, they were wealthy people.
Yeah?
Yeah, but he was adopted, because when he died, his father died first, and then his mother died,
Mm-hmm.
and so the next door neighbors, they were compadres, they had baptizing, you know, way back the Catholics, they baptized him, so they raised him.
Yeah.
They raised him, so he was adopted by his, how do you say, godfather.
Mhm.
They adopted him, they raised him. And my brother Joe and James, they knew him because they were over there working with him.
Did they
And
work in
then
the fields then?
Yeah, in the fields, and they're the ones that took him to our house, and that's when he met me.
But he loved you despite you having those 2 kids.
He said, I told him I can't marry you. He said, why? He said, I love you, and I'm willing to take those kids, and I'll be their dad. And I didn't want to. He begged me. I said, no, I can't get married. Why? Because I got these kids, and you don't need me with 2 kids. He said, I don't care, I love you, and I want to marry you. So finally I gave in, I said, okay. So I married him, and I didn't want to sleep with him.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to sleep with me. I said, no, I can't sleep with you. I was so embarrassed. But finally, I gave in, and he said, well, we're going to go get married. And we got married in Tyler, Texas. We got married just by the court, not
Justice, peace.
the justice of the peace.
Mm-hmm. What year was that? Do you remember?
It was in I think it was in 1943. So then we came to the United States. Because my husband already was here in the United States. My brother Joe
Mm-hmm.
had his birthday and everything, but he swung in, you know, through the water, and they got what they call them, the guys that take care of the people,
Border?
the border. And
He smuggled him in?
yeah, they charged him like $50, I think, Mexican money. And my brother Joe, they swam across the river.
Rio
And when
Grande?
they crossed the border, the immigration wasn't like it is now.
No.
They just let them go. They paid a nickel to pass the bridge, or walk over the bridge. And that's how he got him here. And then he was in trouble because the immigration was looking for him. And they went to our house on George Street, the immigration went, and they knocked, somebody told him that he was there living. So they knocked in the house, and they said, we're the immigration officers, and we got to walk in and look for him. And he was hiding, and they said, you can't keep us, we're immigrations, and we got to get, so they got him, and they took him out and put him in the car, and they took me too and we was sitting in the back seat, and they was writing everything down, investigating us. And they said, well, so far, we know you're a good man, and you don't have papers, but we're gonna let you stay because you're married and got all these kids. So you can stay, but you gotta do it as soon as possible. Go to Detroit, to the immigration, and get your passport and your visa. And we did. We went to Detroit, to the immigration. And I drove over there, and Tim helped me, so we found the place. We had a hard time, we was lost, but we found it. And they gave him his visa and his passport. We had a lawyer, Kaselka.
Mm-hmm.
He was the lawyer that time.
That's a lot of years later.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years later.
Yeah. And so he charges $400. That we had to go to Detroit and get his passport and his picture and everything.
Apply for citizenship.
Yeah. So he become a citizen, and he had his visa and his passport.
And then he wanted to go back and visit Mexico one
He
time
wanted to go
before he
back
died, huh?
because he had a sister over there,
Half-sister.
half-sister. So we went to Mexico and we met her, and I had a picture of me and him and all the kids. And that picture, my grandson Steve went down there, and he said, he always has the habit to go into my pictures, and he said, Grandma, I'm gonna take this picture because I'm gonna have one made for me. And he took it, and he never brought it back, and I kept telling him, I want my picture back, because that's the only picture I got of me and Papa, because they call him Papa. Me and Papa and the kids. And then he said he didn't have it. He said, Lori's got it. And I talked to Lori, she says, he's a liar, I ain't got that picture. He's got it, but he just don't want to give it up. And he never did give it to me. And I know he's got that picture. And I wanted that picture because it's the only picture where me and him and